let me show you how we can start accessing Google AI Studio in a no-code way. To do this, we'll use Zapier, a no-code automation software. So by the end of this video, you'll know how to do everything you want to do within Google AI Studio within Zapier and have zero coding knowledge. Sound good? Let's jump in. Welcome back, y'all. Today's video is sponsored by Zapier. They hit me up. They're like, Corbin, there is a ton of cool stuff we can do within Google AI Studio. I'm like, yes, this is true. Let's do a video about it. My goal of this video is to not only show you how to integrate Google AI Studio, but also give you just a real quick rundown 101 tips on how to start prompt engineering when accessing and talking to artificial intelligence through automations. Therefore, let's do it. Step number one, make sure we even have it connected. So I'm going to come over here to my apps here. I'm going to search up Google AI. We're going to do Google AI Studio. Now, I already have it connected here, so I can do test connection. You'll see it's good to go. For you, simply hit add connection. Once you hit add connection here, come to your Google AI Studio dashboard. Here, all you have to do is go to get API key, hit create API key. Simply just create a Google Cloud project and hit create API key. Just for reference, this API key is a pay-as-you-go situation. So this isn't like you create the API key and it's like, guess what? We're charging you $10 a month now, no matter what. No. It's only going to charge you based off how much you actually use it. So don't worry, no hidden fees, no craziness. Once you do that, simply paste it in there and connect. And just to make sure it works, you can hit these three ellipses and just test connection, test successful. Let's create a Zap. I'm going to come over to my Zapier Zaps folder. And if you're like, what the heck is going on over here? I've done a ton of videos when it comes to AI and automation. So check out this channel. As you already know, the Zap I'm going to create in today's video, create new Zap, is going to be in the description down below for free. Simply click the link, add it to your profile. Because the purpose of today's video is just to show you prompt engineering. We're going to do a trigger here, but it's just going to be a scheduler. So we're going to do trigger event every day, continue, time of day, 12 a.m., continue, and test trigger. I like doing this as the trigger when you're just messing around in Zapier for automations and you just want to try different integrations. This is a nice little just do something so I can get into the actions. I'm going to rename this Zap to Google AI Zap. Let's jump into the fun here. So we're going to type in Google AI Gemini. We're going to do an action event of conversation. So why are we doing conversation? We have two options here, conversation or send prompt. In reality, if you plan on using artificial intelligence in an automation workflow, whether that's creating an email draft, analyzing a PDF document, whatever it may be, you want to opt for the action of conversation because of the fact that we can optionally store messages as you go. Or in this context, I like to call it the memory key. What is the memory key, Corbin? The memory key is what ensures consistent outputs at scale. What do I mean by this? If this automation was to run 1,000 times, we want to make sure the output for those 1,000 times are consistent when it comes to the actual AI itself. So I'm going to go and choose our model here. We'll do 1.5 Pro. If this kind of looks confusing, like, there is just, what's going on? There's too much going on. Typically opt for the model names that are the simplest. So Gemini 1.5 Pro. Don't do Gemini 1.0 Vision Latest. You want to go with whatever is simplest so you can kind of proceed that if there's ever a new update, it gets pushed to here and you don't deal with deprecated endpoints. Let's get to the message now. Let's get to prompting. Rule number one with prompting is we need to tell the AI model who they are, what they do, what the heck's going on. So I like to always start with context, semicolon. What are you trying to do? So in this example, we'll just assume we're a social media marketing manager that has to create 3 captions. I'm going to say you are a social media caption generator. Done. Now, what are the steps that this social media caption generator is going to take in order to give us the end value point we're looking for? Steps to follow. The way I want you to think of this, specifically this part, is imagine we're not teaching the AI to do the outputs. We're teaching an actual employee to do whatever we want. Therefore, break it down into steps. Like you were training someone to give you those social media captions, break it down into steps for the AI model. Step 1, look for trending topics. Now I'm going to go ahead and link another Zapier video I did right up there and in the description down below. This shows you how to get live data through website links using a web parser or an RSS feed to get most up-to-date information we can load into these chats. The reason I bring this up is that a really great block that we could use before this is like an RSS feed of new events or something that's trending so that our data is more up-to-date with every step that proceeds from here. So I'll make sure I leave that in the description down below. Think of it this way. It's like the ChatGPT web search feature, but we put it within an automation. Looking for trending topics. Step 2, generate 3 captions. Step 3, add 2 hashtags to each caption. Step 4, add 1 emoji at the end of each caption. break this down. If you have to write it on a piece of paper, write it on a whiteboard, think of you doing the task or training an employee to do the task. What is the standard operating procedure of approaching the end value point? So if this is a reply to an email, what do you typically go to when you reply to an email? Well, I know business context. Okay, provide that data of your business context when replying. So what is step 1? What is step 2? For this though, here's our next situation. Step 5, output as the standard template. Corbin, what is the standard template? We're going to make that standard template. This is how we want the output to look every single time we run, whether it's the 50th time or the 200th time. This is what we want. So specifically in my context, we're dealing with captions. We're going to caption 1, caption 2, caption 3. Caption 1, 2, and 3 are obviously placeholders for the real data to be put into. Now, a last little section here, which is not absolutely pertinent, but you can add, is a format section. This is where we put information like, hey, I only want the caption to be 2 sentences long each, not 4 sentences long each. I only want my email to have 5 sentences max and always end with this signature. Information like this. For now, though, we don't really need this. And what's cool is we have a memory key. This is what I referenced earlier. Random string of 32 characters. This allows consistent outputs. Now watch this. We add our memory key here, and if we do continue and test this trigger and we like our output, that kind of just locks us in for further automation flows using that prompt. When I say lock in, that means that the output we see here for test 1 is going to look exactly or near the same of test 2 when it comes to the formatting of it. Not necessarily the actual underlying data that it's outputting for caption 1, 2, and 3. What I'm describing there is fundamentally one of the most important skills to learn in prompt engineering is our ability to have consistent outputs at scale. This is extremely important, as when we do this in software, or we do this in automation flows, that's kind of the name of the game. That is why another variable here that could be relevant when you're doing prompt engineering in this context is the temperature variable. What this is basically telling the AI model how creative you want it to be. Typically in software, we don't want it that creative. We want consistency over like unicorns and rainbows, okay? Continue test step. And here we go. Notice how our output has this little square bracket there. Nice. And then notice there's going to be a comma after every single caption. Caption 1, comma. Caption 2, comma. Caption 3, end. In addition, it followed the steps to a T. 2 hashtags, 1 emoji at the end. 2 hashtags, 1 emoji at the end. Name of the game of AI models and prompting is consistency. That's why we love the memory key. And that's why any type of output I do from here on out will do that exact same type of formatting. So the next best video for you to watch in order for you to get more context of how do I input like more live data into there where I can search the internet and provide it, check out that video in the description down below. I'll show you how to search the internet using a no-code tool like Zapier here. Without further ado, that covers everything I want to do in today's video with Google AI Studio, AI, and accessing it. See you in the next video. Gemini, Flash, 1.5. 2 random videos. That's my face. I'll see you in the next video.